Well, hello again. And again, it's not very bright today. They did forecast heavy rain and quite heavy rain and thunder today, but so far it's only been drizzling. Really, there's not been much in the way of heavy rain. Been down to the tip today because I had some fairly high winds and I've got some big gum trees around the place, and some of the branches fell off, so I had to cut those up and take them down the tip. Quite a lot of material actually, so a bit grubby, but there we go. Right, well, I'm sure you don't want to hear about my yard maintenance adventures. What have I seen this week? Now you may notice that there's writing on the, well, it's not on the back of that one. There's writing on the back of most of these, and that's because I've run out of little notepads. Obviously making far too many notes. Right, so down to business. It's 1:45 in the afternoon, and it's the 24th of August 2025, and it's the Steve Mumbling weekly. ETs coming here and crashing here and their equipment is being reverse engineered, piffle peddling roundup. Needless to say, I haven't seen any evidence this week of ET coming here and crashing here. Can't see that changing anytime soon, to be perfectly honest. Right, now Eric Burlison tells us, this is Senator Burlison or Representative Burlison, I'm still not sure what the difference is, if there is one, tells us he has a new whistleblower called Michael, not his real name, who apparently has 4K video footage of a huge flying triangle hovering 50 feet in front of him, and again apparently fell off this huge this huge hovering triangle, this potential alien spacecraft, and apparently Michael has also been in a skiff or skiffs with Arrow. Now, this supposedly happened 20 plus years ago. So it just so happened that a potential alien spacecraft, he was out with a 4K camera 20 plus years ago. Now, as far as I know, there weren't any domestic 4K cameras 20 plus years ago, but apparently this chap was out with a 4K camera 20 plus years ago, and blow me down, which you wouldn't believe it, but a potential alien spacecraft appeared 50 feet in front of him, big black triangle, and just started hovering around in front of him so he could film it. Not only that, a panel fell off it, and Michael recovered the panel off of this potential alien spacecraft. Already it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's yeah. Anyway, I'll persevere. Now, he's been in a skiff or skiffs with Arrow, apparently, this chap. Now, Tim Phillips, the ex-deputy director of Arrow, has said this Michael chap was trying to extort the US government. Extort the US government. I'm beginning to sound like AI, aren't I? With this punctuation. He was trying to extort the US government, so he was reported to the FBI. Now, apparently what Michael was trying to do was to sell the footage and this panel to Arrow. And he said if they didn't buy it, he would sell it to the highest bidder, even if they were in an adversarial state. So Arrow read that as extortion. You know, I've got this stuff, you can't, I'm not going to show it to you, you know, or you can't have it unless you buy it off me, and if you don't buy it off me, then I'm going to sell it to the highest bidder. Now, Tim Phillips said that he's not a medical professional. You can see where this is going, can't you? He's not a medical professional, but based off common sense, he wouldn't want this particular chap around his family. And he's also said that a member of staff, presumably Arrow staff, should be protected from this individual. This suggests to me Mr. Phillips thought that this Michael character, pardon me, was a dangerous nutcase. The UFO ET business isn't short of nutcases. It has far more than its fair share. That is very true, isn't it? Now, the first question I would be asking this Michael is what was the make and model of the camera you used to shoot the video, the 4K video, 20 plus years ago? I think that the answer to that question will be quite revealing. I don't think there were any domestic 4K cameras around 20 plus years ago. I think it's rather convenient that not only does a potential alien spacecraft hover right in front of him while he's out and about with his 4K camera, but a panel falls off and is recovered by Michael. So, recovered by Michael, not the aliens. You know, it's a bit strange, isn't it? You know, if a bit falls off your spacecraft and you're light years away from home, don't you think you'd be inclined to just put the landing gear out and recover the panel? You wouldn't let it be recovered by anyone on Earth. You wouldn't want them. You wouldn't want them reverse engineering it, finding out that it had really interesting properties. And you certainly, if you were an alien, you would not be dragging unnecessary mass around the galaxy. So this panel would be an essential part of the spacecraft. They might not be able to get home without it. So you would think the aliens would recover the panel. So personally, I don't believe this at all. I think it's bullshit. Perhaps unsurprisingly. Just happens to be out and about with a 4K camera 20 plus years ago. Potential alien spacecraft hovers 50 feet in front of him. Panel falls off. You know, we don't hear the rest of the story. They just fly away. You know, obviously they let him recover the panel, according to him. Makes no sense at all, does it? And I think he's waited probably 20 plus years to produce this video, because now, of course, it can be fabricated, can't it? You can easily fabricate some 4K video today. I think that's probably why he's waited 20 plus years to come forward with the story. Oh dear. So yeah, I honestly don't think this guy's worth looking at. Personal opinion, of course. He also claims to have defeated stealth, spoofing and other countermeasures. Now, if someone said to me, could you defeat stealth mumbling? I'd probably say, yeah, well, I probably could. You could probably do that with HF radio waves. You know, stealth aircraft are visible on these long range over the horizon HF radars. And that's because stealth aircraft are designed to have low observability when they're bombarded with millimetric and centimetric radar waves. That's the sort of waves that the radars normally squirt at aircraft, millimetric and centimetric wavelength radars. Now, and they look at the aircraft like that, you know, the aircraft's flying along and then they're bouncing the radar off it. That's why they have the fins at angles, you know, they deflect the radar down and they got funny shapes to them so it doesn't bounce off the front and all that sort of stuff. But over the horizon HF radars can detect stealth aircraft because over-the-horizon HF radar goes up to the ionosphere and then comes down and looks down on the aircraft as a much bigger surface area. It sees the aircraft in plan view. And you could make a much shorter range version of this over-the-horizon radar because it works by beaming high-frequency radio waves up at the ionosphere, and it will skip off the ionosphere and come back down again. Now there is a transmission mode, HF transmission mode. Oh yeah, before I get to that, when the Americans first developed the F-117, the first stealth aircraft, a funny looking thing, you know, because it had all these facets on it, because it bounced the radio waves off all over the place, and they said they were going to fly it around the world and see if anyone could detect it, and of course the Australians detected it. They said this is the altitude, this is the speed, this is the bearing, this is the heading, because they looked at it with the over-the-horizon radar, the HF over-the-horizon radar, looking down from the ionosphere on the aircraft. You know, the signals bounce back to the radar station. And the Americans were not were a tad miffed that the Australians could track their brand new stealth aircraft at the time, brand new stealth aircraft, quite accurately. Now, there is a transmission mode called NVIS, Near Vertical Incidence Skywave. So that means instead of beaming your HF signal up at the ionosphere and it will skip off, give you these long ranges, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 kilometres or more radar ranges, over the horizon radar. NVIS, it's called, Near Vertical Incidence Skywave, goes pretty much straight up, goes at very, very steep angles. And it comes down much shorter ranges. So you could have something, probably using a magnetic loop antenna, fairly small, physically small antenna. You don't need these big towers, these big over-the-horizon radar installations have. You could have a magnetic loop antenna and probably a small transmitter, maybe 5 kilowatts or 10 kilowatts or less, and it would just transmit your high-frequency radio pulses straight up and at very, very steep angles, and that would give you a HF radar range of say 300 to 400 kilometres, where the radio waves are going to be coming down from the ionosphere straight onto your stealth aircraft and back again. So by using near vertical incidence skywave, you could put a HF NVIS radar in a truck. It'd be pretty small. The whole thing would be pretty small, and that would defeat stealth aircraft. You could detect stealth aircraft because that would be looking at the radio waves that are coming straight down from the ionosphere, bouncing off the aircraft in planned view, back to the ionosphere, back to the radar. So defeating stealth, not really a big deal. Yeah, spoofing, so what would that be? Signature management, yeah, who knows. But certainly defeating stealth, not difficult. So yeah, I should remember that without looking at it. Incredible, right? Anyone would think that I'd actually used NVIS HF radio. It's good for talking over mountainous terrain as well, you know. If you ever see any pictures of images of Hummers, American Hummers, and they're in mountainous areas, they have these massive whip antennas on, they're always folded back. And the reason for that is it will then operate in NVIS mode because the antenna is whipped back, the ground, the vehicle acts as a reflector, the signals go straight up to the ionosphere and come down, and they'll bounce down to within a couple of 100 kilometres. Give you a couple of 100 kilometre range over mountainous terrain. It goes straight up, comes straight down the other side of the mountain. And that's why you see the Hummers with the whips clipped back. They're using NVIS HF radio. Anyway, okay, so I digress. Michael tells us he won't go public because there are people out there who want him dead. Including the Chinese government. Apparently someone sent him a picture that was taken from a cell phone by somebody standing next to the president of China. So there's lots of people wanting him dead, including the Chinese government. But they all know his true identity. All these people that want him dead know his true identity. So there's little point in keeping his true identity from the public, really, is there? What's the point of that exactly? Mr. Burlison is now saying Michael is reluctant to come forward. As there may be a conflict of interest. There may be a conflict of interest as Michael is pitching for some government contracts. US government, presumably, not the Chinese government. So why wait 20 plus years to come forward? Why not apply for the government contracts years ago? Why does Tim Phillips give the impression he thinks Michael is a nutcase? Perhaps unsurprisingly, I think Michael's story about the hovering craft and the panel falling off is complete and utter bullshit. And I don't really expect Michael, if he does come forward, to have anything more than a story, just like Grusch and Co. Complete waste of time. I certainly don't expect to see a scrap of tangible evidence from Michael. I don't think anyone's going to get to see this panel. And if he does produce anything physical, I certainly don't believe it fell off an alien spacecraft. As I said, you know, an alien spacecraft, they're going to keep it as low mass as possible. If they're flying around the galaxy, and, you know, it's going to be as low mass as possible. It's not going to be carting around anything it doesn't need. So if a bit fell off, they're going to want to stick it back on, I would think, so they can get home. So what else did I see? Luna has lost patience with Elizondo. Now she says, see you in the skiff, Elizondo. So, you know, he's not going to get an opportunity to go sick again. I think she's going to subpoena him. And he's going to have to drag his ailing carcass along to the skiff. About time. And then he can spill the beans. He'll probably have to go and buy a few cans from the local supermarket first, of course, because he's not going to be able to spill any beans that have got anything whatsoever to do with extraterrestrials. And this is why these people divert the focus away from extraterrestrials to UAP. UAP, you know. I see a glowing light going across the sky. You know, it's a UAP. I don't know what it is. UAPs are real. There is no tangible link between UAPs and extraterrestrials. If I'm missing something, leave a link below and I'll take a look at it. I'm confidently say I'm not going to be seeing any links, am I? Okay, so interestingly, this new fake whistleblower, Michael, has the same lawyer as Elizondo. Little clique, isn't it? It's a little club. The fake whistleblower club. I wonder if he's asked Louis if he can borrow his chandelier or irrigation circle photographs. Oh dear, this subject just gets more and more pathetic every week, doesn't it? Anyway, as unbelievable as it sounds, I was wrong. I was wrong about something. Incredible, isn't it? They are going to have another UAP hearing. I said they wouldn't bother. They realised, you know, Burlison, Luna and Co. would have realised they're wasting their time and money on these clowns. But they're going to give it another go, apparently. They're going to have another UAP hearing on the 9th of September. I think this is going to be a complete waste of time and money, just like the previous ones. If it's only stories without a scrap of tangible evidence to support any of them, I suspect this will be the last one. They're not going to put any more time in it. They're just going to go, this is obviously bullshit. Luna's said as much. She thinks it's all bullshit. She's woken up to the fact that it's all rubbish, science fiction drivel. And I think behind the scenes they're saying, we'll give it one more go, you know. But I think if it's just stories with zero tangible evidence to support any of them, that will be that. There won't be any more of these UAP hearings. And as I've said before, separate UAP, UFOs from extraterrestrial spacecraft. There's no tangible link between UFOs, UAPs and extraterrestrials. Clouds, UAPs, UFOs cloud the issue. We want to know, are extraterrestrials coming here and crashing here? And if you're going to tell us they are, we're going to need tangible evidence to support what you're saying. Otherwise it's just science fiction stories, you know. I can make up a science fiction story. I did for the April Fools earlier this year or last year, you know. And what's his name? The guy that makes a lot of these science fiction films, oh, I can't remember his name now, but he's a gullible guy anyway. He believed it. James Fox, he believed it. Till he looked at the date. I saw Gary Nolan and Diana Paulsolka being interviewed. You put a line through both of these, waste of time. Nolan is now backpedaling on his recovered UAP debris from the Tim Taylor 40-plus year old UFO crash site. He says he believes it's terrestrial material. Okay, so that's Gary Nolan. Remember that story you went with Diana Paulsolka with this guy, this mysterious guy, Tim Taylor. I think he's mysterious because if he wasn't, everyone would fall about laughing when they found out about him pretty quickly. He keeps the secret of this 40-plus year old UFO crash site, keeps the location secret because if it was made public, what crashed there would be identified very easily. You know, it's probably just the remains of a plane crash that was carrying supplies to an Air Force base or a military base, you know, cans of cola, cans of beans, you know, that sort of stuff. It's probably all it is. So, you know, put a line through the mysterious Tim Taylor, just like you can put a line through the less mysterious but terrible scientist, Travis Taylor, Skinwalker Ranch guy. You know, the rubbish, it's the drivel that he comes out with, absolute nonsense. Put a line through it. So put a line through Tim Taylor and his 40-plus year old UFO crash site. Put a line through Gary Nolan. Put a line through Diana Paulsolka. It's all drivel, you know. So Nolan's backpedaling on that now. He's saying he now believes that the material they recovered from that site is terrestrial. And now, as well as backpedaling on his ridiculous aliens around his bed for weeks on end story, you know, when he was a kid. Now he's saying, oh, yeah, it might have just been a dream, you know. Yeah, right. But it could more likely, I think it's complete utter bullshit, you know, because the chances of you having the same dream every night for weeks on end about aliens around your bed or anything else is pretty unlikely. Personal opinion. I think it's drivel. Put a line through these characters. And finally, Avi Loeb. I think Avi Loeb's on a bit of a slippery slope here. He's now saying that the 3i Atlas could be a nuclear-powered ET spacecraft. So not only, well, it'd have to be something. I mean, if it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft, it would have to be nuclear-powered, wouldn't it? Even though it's going pretty fast, it's going far too slow, really, to be an alien spacecraft with any kind of crew on it. It's going to take thousands of years to get across the galaxy. It could maybe be this bioweapon thing that I've suggested before, but you know, it'll come swing around the sun, come to meet the Earth, split into lots of little things, just like the plot of the Bond movie Moonraker. You know, all these little things will go around the world and disperse this bioweapon, which will kill every living thing they don't want here. But regardless, it would have to be a nuclear-powered spacecraft. I don't think there'd be any other way of getting something going that fast. It's going to have to be a sort of matter-antimatter reaction or some kind of fusion power, isn't it? So, yeah, personally, I still think it's a rock, you know. But it's not like a lot of these predictions, you know, a lot of these claims. Oh, it's coming here, it's going to be here in 3 years, you know. 3 years go by. Oh, did I say 3 years? I meant 5 years, you know. And then nothing happens. And then, you know, did I say 5? I meant 10 years. 10 years. The world's going to end. They're on their way here. At least Avi Loeb. Well, as will we all, only have a couple of months to wait to find out if he's right, if it is an alien spacecraft. Well, although I think he's saying that, you know, we should just consider it something we should think about. The possibility that it may be an alien spacecraft. He's not saying that he thinks it is. And he's saying, you know, we should have a look at it. And apparently Juno is out of the question. Doesn't have enough fuel to intercept it. But there are some Mars orbiters that might be able to get some pictures of it. 3i Atlas this is. But interesting nevertheless. I'm fully expecting to be here, telling you that it's the roundup, the Christmas roundup of the ET people pinning. I don't think the world's going to end. At the end of September or the beginning of October. Was it October? End of October, I think he said. Yeah, that's right. Beginning of November. So, yeah. Okay, well, as always, if you've struggled through the video all the way to this point, many thanks for watching, and maybe I'll catch you again.